Lead yourself. LeadSA.
So, Pro Bono is a young NGO offering private legal profession and services to those who cannot afford it. They're leading SA in many ways. Emdon, who's director at ProBono.Org. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to talk on your show.
Thank you. Tell us a bit more about your story that led to your existence.
I will. But can I just say something before I even start? Which is today is the Jewish New Year, and I'm Jewish, and I think it's a great opportunity to be on your show today, because there's this concept in Jewish law called tzedakah, which means giving back, justice, fairness, or righteousness. And you're meant to do it your whole life through. You're not meant to just give charity now and again. You're meant to be obliged to give back all the time. And in fact, that is why Pro Bono was set up, ProBono.Org. It's set up to encourage lawyers and advocates and attorneys to give back through their time and their skill to people who can't afford legal assistance. We were set up in 2006. And at that stage, we were really small. We had 15 law firms to assist us, and we could only help about 150 people. And now we've got about 250 law firms, and last year we helped about 5,000 people. So it's grown enormously. And what it indicates is that lawyers are prepared to do a lot of pro bono work. They just need to be encouraged, and they need to have the opportunities the opportunities given to them. And that's what we really do. We try and find the opportunities for them and give them work and give them pro bono cases and give them opportunities to use their skills and to use their time for people who can't afford fees.
And I suppose it addresses then this perception, and it happens all the time. We hear it on the radio, where people genuinely believe that if you don't have money in South Africa, you will be denied justice. But you are saying, there are organizations, yours being one of them, that are addressing this gap.
Yes, you're quite right to say there is a huge gap. And there's some legal NGOs that have been in existence for a long time that help. But what we're trying to do is we're expanding it through the use of the private legal profession. And it's such a big it's such a large number of lawyers. There's so many of them. We've got 2,000 advocates who can do pro bono work, and probably that number attorneys. So they really can make a huge impact. And I think that's what's quite unique about the model. It grows all the time. The more lawyers that get involved, the more clients we can help. So,
and what cases are you looking at, Erica? Anything and everything?
We do a range of issues. We have a place for refugees. We enable refugees to come to a legal clinic once a week. We help people who have housing matters, who've been unlawfully evicted. We help a lot of families. We do a lot of family work. We try and get parties to become involved in mediation so that children aren't adversely affected. We do consumer matters where people have got terribly in debt and they can't manage to get out of it, and they're in a very difficult position. And most recently, we launched an incredibly meaningful program. It's called One Child a Year.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about this. What's this about?
Well, what we realized is that children who are in difficulty get lost in the system, and sometimes you need to have, what we're trying to get is lawyers who will sit with those children, will carry on their legal work right through the whole process, and not just appear for the child once in court and then forget about it. And why we're doing this is because children might get some kind of, there might be a court order to do something to improve the circumstances of a child, but they may in fact end up in a worse position. And if nobody's monitoring it, and if nobody's keeping track of the child, the child may not reach a point of safety and well-being. I can give you an example.
Yes.
You'll find, say, a child has been placed in a place of safety because they haven't got anyone to look after them. The reason could be that their parents live on the streets, or their parents are addicts. Or we've had one case where the father had raped the child and the mother had colluded, and they were in jail. They'd been jailed, and this child had no one to look after her. So these kids get put in these places called places of safety, which are set up by the Children's Act, and they're meant to give the child a lot of security and be safe places. Often it's an interim situation while other family members are identified. But what one finds is that sometimes the place of safety is far from safe. It's actually incredibly dangerous. Maybe the child gets sexually abused there, or the child gets sick and is not taken to hospital, and you find that these kids need to be monitored. Now, that's the job of the social workers, but even the social workers need to be kept, one needs to follow what they're doing and make sure that that child is brought back to court and that he's moved to a different place and that the person who's being abusing the child is, prosecuted. And, it's all that. It's to follow through, because if you don't follow through, things start to just fall through the cracks and people aren't prosecuted who should be. Children are not in safe positions. And there are many examples like that where children, are just in the system somewhere and they're lost in the system.
And Erica, obviously you are intervening in what is really a complex problem. It's not just a legal aid, but also opening the doors for these families, opening the doors for these children. You must be then overwhelmed, because every time we read a newspaper, there's always a child in distress. Where do you find them?
Well, we've got a few sources of work. We've got, for example, a remarkable magistrate in Germiston who's in the children's court who sends us matters. We get them sometimes even from the police. And then people sort of just come through to us. They have heard of us, So, we try, there are different levels of assisting children, even if a divorce is taking place, or not even a divorce, where their parents who've got a child and they can't agree on anything. The child gets pushed around and bullied and sent from pillar to post. We try and get a lawyer to actually represent the child, so the child has a voice in those proceedings. We are inundated, it's true, but on the other hand, as I say, the lawyers that we have is a constantly growing base of support. And the more we get them on board and the more they give back, the better service we can offer. So we also try very, very hard to encourage lawyers through finding things that they're interested in, finding things that match their skill. We give them education if it's a new area of work they've never done, like refugee law or even law on children. And we try and create opportunities that suit the lawyers' interests so that they'll come back and do more. And so with this children's campaign, it takes a very particular lawyer. It's not any lawyer who can do this.
Yeah,
These are tough cases and they require long commitment. That's why we called it one child a year, because we say rather take one case and stick with it for the year, but do it properly and stay with that kid and make a difference in someone's life. And we're going to document it. It's the first year we've done it. We started in June. And we're going to trace these cases and track them and write a booklet later and see what happens.
And then how can, those in the legal profession assist? How can the public assist, Erica?
Well, I suppose the public, maybe being aware of us, know that we exist, so they can always refer matters to us. And also, if there are any lawyers listening, they need to get on board. I mean, it's been very, very encouraging how many lawyers have voluntarily come on board to offer their services in one way or another. And it's important because the legal profession is highly commercialized and they need to kind of get back in touch with where we start as lawyers. We start with lawyers to provide a service. We provide, like doctors, we're meant to be contributing to the social good and not only making money. So it's important for the profession to get involved. So if any people from the profession are listening, join up, is what I say.
And where do we find you, Erica?
We have a website, ProBono.Org.za. We are on the line 011-339-6080. And people can email me directly. It's Erica, ERICA, at ProBono.Org.za.
Well, Erica, thank you so very much for speaking to us, and we'd love to stay in touch with you, especially around the One Child a Year campaign. Any information that you want to get out there, don't hesitate to get in touch with us.
Thank you. It's been very nice speaking to you.
And Shana Tova.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Erica Emdon, and director at ProBono.Org.